Our story is about a song. The song is about a struggle that has seen both victories and losses. In 2007, before the election of the first black president, Barack Obama, progress on institutional racism has stalled since the Voting Rights Act of 1965. In a new status quo, 60% of the black population enjoyed healthy race relations. That changed in 2007. Incidents like the Gen 6 caused relations to drop below 60% for the first time in decades. Many new white nationalist groups, such as the Nationalist Movement, began organizing after Gen 6 as a response. Now you know the context the song was written in. And now, here are the 9 things we will analyze today. First is the poet. Tay Zonday, or Adam Nairi Bonner, is an African-American songwriter and singer acclaimed for his bass voice. He was working on a PhD in American Studies in April 2007 when Zonday released Chocolate Rain, a song about institutional racism's harm and effect on people's lives, as he revealed in a City Pages interview in 2017. He said this song is influenced by his encounters with institutional racism. Another song of his is Mama Economy, which critiques the current economic system in America. This song is similar to Black Rage by Lauryn Hill as a protest song. Zonday has been featured on many networks. Zonday noted he chooses heavy topics because these create meaningful conversations with the viewers through song. Next is the title. The title, Chocolate Rain, is a little bit unusual. It is actually a reference to institutional racism. Zonday has made this clear in multiple interviews. Some think it's about diarrhea. In slang, the word chocolate refers to a black or dark-skinned person, while rain can be used to describe a negative impact, such as, "Don't rain on our parade," making this a more innocent title for a poem that describes, demonstrates, and highlights institutional racism in America. Next, the paraphrased. Chocolate Rain uses a pattern of the words chocolate rain and then a statement about racism. He uses this to comment about racism in all kinds of different forms. Here's my first example. Chocolate Rain. The judge and jury swear it's not the face. This highlights the justice system. The second example. Chocolate Rain. Dirty secrets of the economy. References modern slavery with the next line. Turns that body into GDP, highlighting how black people still face racism and unemployment in wages. He discusses prejudice, school, coping mechanisms, historical portrayals, brainwashing, ignorance, history, brainwashing again, ignorance again, and the economy. Zonday comments about all sectors of racism in his song. This song must be analyzed in the context of race. But some lines need more than the context of racism to understand. Chocolate Rain lifts the arc of paradise and sin, means institutional racism lifts America, the arc, through racism or sin. More than marching, more than passing law, means that more than the civil rights movement is needed to solve racism, echoing the song Black Man by Steve Wonder, which describes how current progress isn't enough and to do more. History quickly crashing through your veins is the second most used line. Crashing implies people are unaware of racism, while veins denotes a shiver or chill upon reading the horrors of the history. History implies institutional racism. These word choices have tremendous content and must be analyzed deeply for full appreciation. Here's a joke. Why was the prison poetry slam cancelled? Because there were more cons than pros. Anyway, back to the video. The author uses many devices to create a strong mood, including tone, repetition, diction, and lastly, a very strong hyperbole. A harsh, uncomfortable diction will set a serious tone, and he uses words such as crashing, sin, and dirty The narrator is fed up with and accounts for the details of institutional racism or chocolate rain that the characters are victims of. The characters are perceived as lesser. We can see this in The Bell Curve Blames the Baby's DNA. The characters face prejudice in The Same Christ Has a Higher Price to Play. And they are ridiculed as paranoid in Say It Publicly and You're Insane. No similes or metaphors are used. Zonday is very straightforward in his criticisms of institutional racism. Repetition is the most used literary device. Chocolate Rain is repeated 48 times to reaffirm the theme of institutional racism. The line, "History quickly crashing through your veins," is repeated 6 times. This implies blindness to institutional racism. Imagery is used to immerse a cruel world. Zoom the camera out and see the lie, and makes us happy living in a gate. Create a dystopian mood through imagery. This mood reflects the real effects of institutional racism, which is accomplished by using literary devices that add depth to the poem. Knowledge of the ranty tone helps us understand the complex frustrations of institutional racism in the lyrics. The poet holds frustrated views of systemic racism and government institutions. This is portrayed with the diction and imagery and can be seen in the line, "The school books say it can't be here again." This is used to show frustration at the education system. The next line, "Say it publicly and you're insane," shows frustration at the public. No one wants to hear about it now, and "Wish Real Hard It Goes Away Somehow" create a frustrated, futile tone of inaction. "Cross the world and back it's all the same" adds to this futile tone, implying that racism is everywhere, and the line "seldom mentioned on the radio" highlights a lack of attention. All these connections and insights create a frustrated, futile tone. The subtle shift is in the tense. Racism can sometimes be described as a historical event. In the line, "Only in the past is what they say," this highlights and challenges that viewpoint. The last 4 words, "is what they say," implies racism is still alive and is unrightfully portrayed as dead. That completes our shift to the past. The words "turn that body into GDP" describes people are treated as money, referencing slavery and how resources can affect academic performance. This can be seen in "but test scores are how much the parents make." This implies that institutional racism can affect people presently. The song then shifts to the future, calling to repeat the protests of the Civil Rights Act, shown in the final non-repeated line, "remake to how we got to where we are," completing our shift from the past to the present to the future. The theme is institutional racism. This theme is a reality for many individuals. Zonday, who is an American history scholar, experience in uncovering the truth of racism is seen in the line "history quickly crashing through your veins." Zonday writes this from a world of injustice, bringing our hostilities with it. The repetition of the words "chocolate rain" reinforce the prevalent nature of racism, while the descriptive imagery lets us feel its pain. The larger theme is oppression of the poor, and how our systems and attitudes that dismiss the prevalence of chocolate rain actually enhance it. The mood is happy until you understand the lyrics. The upbeat tone and the lighthearted name deceive the viewers about the mood. However, once you start analyzing the lyrics, the mood is actually disgust. Disgust at racism, of course, but the heavy lyrics and fun beat feels disgusting, like a jalapeno in sugar. Anger created through imagery of racism is juxtaposed by an upbeat singer, creating an unintentional metaphor where we in the real world face the heat of racism, yet live our lives sweetly ignorant anyway, reflected in the verse, "build a tent and say the world is dry." So once again, the pain is in the lyrics, and that song, just like the real world, is beautiful until you dig deep. But wait, something's not quite right. We know the melody is happy. We've analyzed the lyrics. We still need to listen to the song. Well, you already have.
A baby born will die before the send chocolate rain. The school books say it can't be here again, chocolate rain. The prisons make you wonder where it went, chocolate rain. Build a tent and say the world is dry, chocolate rain. Zoom the camera out and see